One man, one mission, watch all Walt Disney movies. This is Death by Disney.
Hello, welcome to the Death by Disney podcast. I'm your host, Adam, and on this podcast, I attempt to watch every Walt Disney film ever made. That's my mission. There's only 2 rules to this mission. The first is I have to watch absolutely everything, whether it's an original Disney animated movie, or a live action movie, or a live action remake, or something that was produced under the Disney company, but not necessarily the Disney brand, like Marvel, like Touchstone Pictures, like Star Wars, like a whole bunch of other things that I will get to later. Today, this is the second movie where I had no idea it existed before I watched it, and there's going to be a lot of those coming up in the near future. So here's the summary from the official Disney webpage. It's an animated feature film about Latin America made up of 4 animated segments tied together by live-action footage of the activities of Walt Disney and his artists on their trip. Okay, that sound means it's trivia time. So, some trivia about a movie that you've never seen. Well, maybe it's interesting. I don't know. You could see this one. It's not that bad. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll review the movie in a moment. So, the first big piece of trivia I have for you is that Chilean cartoonist Rene Rios Botiger, aka Peppo, was dissatisfied with Pedro the Airplane. So Pedro the Airplane is in one of the segments where he is trying to deliver mail for his dad, who is also a mail plane, and he can't really do it because he's too small, and it's all about like overcoming obstacles and stuff. But this Peppo guy was like, no, that's a bad character. He wanted a character that could be seen in the same league as Donald Duck and Jose Carioca. As a response to this film, in 1949 he created his most famous character, Condorito, an anthropomorphic condor. And this type of bird is actually seen in the segment with Pedro the Airplane. He became, the condor, became one of the most popular comic strip characters around the world. The next bit of information. At 42 minutes, this has been the shortest Disney feature to date, being shorter than Dumbo, and having been only 61 to 64 minutes. Which is crazy because Dumbo feels short, and this feels okay. An acceptable length. Which means, well, the thing about Dumbo is that it feels too short and also bad at the same time. Like, you feel like, why have I watched this? And also, why was it too short? You didn't take enough time to expand the story at all. So Dumbo is like really strange. So Dumbo feels short, and this one doesn't feel short. This one feels like an adequate length of time. The film marks the first appearance of Donald Duck in a Disney animated feature film. Previously, he only appeared in animated shorts. And if you're asking, what about Mickey? Go see Fantasia. I mean, don't see Fantasia. Not a good movie, but listen to the episode about Fantasia. I did, because that is his first appearance. Jose Carioca is both the first Brazilian character to appear in a Disney animated feature film, and the first major Latin American character in the Disney cast of characters. So what did I think about it? Well, hold on. I'm about to tell you. This is an entertaining anthology film from the early days of the Disney studios. It shows great scenes of animators doing their work. It's a mix of live action and animation, much like The Reluctant Dragon. The animated sequences are lively and have a few jokes that manage to elicit a chuckle even 80 years later. There are a number of cultural stereotypes depicted. On the one hand, this is bad because there is a level of fetishization, hard word to say, of these differences. But on the other hand, people really were more difficult back. Were more difficult. I don't know if they were more difficult. They definitely were more different back then. At least in terms of their dress and the food they would eat. It's interesting, though, that this film was made by Walt Disney as an attempt to foster better relations between the United States and Latin American countries, and apparently it was very successful in doing so. So the attended audience did not react badly to the stereotypes depicted in it. So I should explain that a little bit because that's a wild sentence. Like, what was Disney doing trying to improve the relations between the United States and Latin America? Well, the relation between the United States and Latin America has always been troubled, let's say. And in the time period immediately before this, the Americans had staged a number of military interventions into different countries to protect their political and economic interests, and that involves overthrowing democratically elected governments or, that kind of thing. And Franklin D. Roosevelt thought it might be a bad idea to continue to do this, not necessarily because of the moral or ethical arguments to be made, simply for the fact that Germany was becoming more powerful in Europe, and they had a lot of friends in South America. Why did they have a lot of friends in South America? Because of what I told you before. Americans weren't very popular because of the things that they were doing, so they were acting imperialistically in their backyard, and the American government thought that they should come up with a program to say, hey, look guys, we've changed, and we're trying to learn, and we're trying to be better, and this movie was kind of a happy, cheerful way of kind of doing that. And as a bit of propaganda, it was pretty successful. People in Latin America did tend to feel more positive about America after having watched this film. Okay, that's what I thought about the movie. Kind of liked it, but what are some reviews? What did other people think about it? So this is taken from the Internet Movie Database, and as always, I'm going to present you with a positive review and a negative review, and I'll let you in on a little secret. When I like the movie, I will go negative first and positive last, and when I don't like the movie, I'll go positive first and negative last. So this is entitled, How About a Real Look at Latin America? From Lee Eisenberg 23, June 2014. Saludos Amigos is an ultra-stereotype look at Latin America, which Disney followed with The Three Caballeros 2 years later. Basically, it depicts Hispanophone and Lusophone America as suave and sexy women, all of whom spend eternity partying. That's right, no look at the legacies of colonialism, namely the terrible inequality. Cool parrot Jose Caracao, which is the demonym for Rio de Janeiro, of course returned in The Three Caballeros. Basically, this movie is what Disney thought it meant to build good relationships with Latin America. A better way to do so would be to read Eduardo Galeano's Open Veins of Latin America, a Spanish-language copy of which Hugo Chavez gave to Barack Obama at a summit of the Americas in 2009. Wow. 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 I mean, I agree. There's lots of stereotypes, but if you write a sentence like Hispanophone and Lusophone in the English language, no one is going to take you seriously. And I'm sorry, there are a lot of negative legacies of colonialism, but do you expect a Disney film to talk about the legacies of colonialism? Like, people got mad when there was a lesbian kiss. Can you imagine how few people would watch that movie? I mean, maybe make a documentary rather than make a kid's movie with a talking parrot and talking duck about that. I don't know what he's talking about demonym for Rio de Janeiro. Maybe people in Rio de Janeiro kind of adopted the character of Jose Caracau after, and I can understand why. If you have to see the character because he's this green parrot, and he's got like a little bit of color in his wings, but he's wearing this like really suave suit, and he has like a cigar. He would make a great tattoo. And in fact, if I ever get a tattoo, that's the tattoo that I'm going to get because I like parrots. I'll probably never have a parrot, but I like parrots, and I think that, and I don't smoke cigars, but it's just a cool looking visual. So that's very weird, and I don't know anything about the book, but I imagine if the book is in the same vein as the rest of the comment, it might be very good education, but not really appropriate for kids. Or maybe it is appropriate for kids, I don't know. Alright, here's the positive review. 10 out of 10, great feature about South America. I love Saludos Amigos. From Christina, 18, February 2007. This feature was made to improve relations with South America. It features a few animated shorts with live action breaking the scenes up. The live action is designed to teach about South American culture. I am someone who really likes this feature, even though it is short. I love the scene with Jose Caracau, where Donald can't pronounce his name. Jose. I would watch this at my old job at a video store every chance I got. I would recommend it to everyone, but since some people are not impressed with this feature, I would suggest renting it first. Overall, very good. So you had some trivia about the movie, you had my review, you had what other people think about it. Honestly, I'd recommend go watch it. It's very, very short. Currently available on Disney Plus. I don't know if it will be in the future. Yeah, so that is the podcast for this week. Tune in next week when we'll be talking about victory through air power.